ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I went ahead and we're going back to the Mighty Vac pressurized brake bleeder. So what I ended up doing is I used some epoxy. I epoxied it and I sprayed it with soap and water on top. It bubbles a little bit, of course. Wouldn't expect anything less, but does seem to hold pressure. On the gauge anyway, we hold in pressure. Well, that's a good deal. Now I can't use that because like I said, I was not going to be replacing it. Put this hose back on it. However, and get that camera around. This is also not the reason for the video. This kind of pertains to it. That's why I started off with the Mighty Vac. What I got here is I got the new kit that I was saying in the last video, the replacement for this. So I'll give you a shot at the fittings here. Oh. Obviously we got fittings here to do pretty good size brake reservoirs. Got a lot of other stuff with it. Probably about standard set of fittings, I would call that. That's about what you would find in a regular set. So anyway, we get this to come with it. Now this kit here is a China tool. Let me get you put back over here. Turn this around so I can see, you can see, I can see. Bleeder hose. Bottle for the bleeding, for when you're bleeding the brakes, so you don't just dripping it in the floor. This is why I have to say, this is how you can tell you got something made in China, in my opinion. What I don't like about this is a poor fit. This is a very poor fit. You couldn't, even its own weight, it already wants to pull out. They could have made that a little bit tighter. They could have gave that a little bit better fit. But I suppose that is what the chain is for, so you don't have to have the hose holding it. However, it would be nice if the hose would contribute. Let me get this. And this is a YSTool is what it is. Let me get this box out of the way. And so, sit this down for just a second. What do we got going on over here with the white stuff? And all that's probably the styrofoam. Get the camera down a little bit. Okay, so got us a hose here. Of course, the paperwork that done fell to the floor. Adapter kit, parts list. Let's see if it's got application chart. No, it does not by the looks of it. Nah, don't look like it has the application chart with it. So, got us a spiral hose. I'll give you a pretty good reach. Set this on the ground. Let's see, unwind that. That's as high as I could stretch right now, being on my tippy toes, so that would actually work for, you wouldn't have to set it inside the engine compartment, so that can sit in the floor. That is a plus. So I guess here they got a nicely printed example. But anyway, we've got, like I said, you got the hose, we've got a gauge, on and off valve. It feels okay now. Of course, that's hard to say. This is not a review. This is just an introduction. I can't do a review unless I'm using the tool or have used them several times. Of course, basically the same principle. I've got some styrofoam in here. Same principle here. We've got some on-off valves and a block down here with a pop-off valve and also a bleeding valve. Let's check this plug. It's got a rubber O-ring seal around the top. The threads going into this it's metal. This part of it here obviously chromed. The threads feel actually pretty good. The machine area on top where the O-ring sits, that feels pretty good. The weld seems to be okay. This had to be dropped or something like that. It's done peeled the sticker off of it, but heck, I'm not worried about adjustable valve. That's what the description said when I read the description before I purchased it. So you can adjust the pressure, obviously, and like I said, read the pressure on the gauge. So turn that around. It's got standard swivel fitting on the bottom. I guess where it comes up, where the air goes into the tank. These are pretty much standard fittings, so not a big deal there. Same thing here. It's a push lock fitting actually what it is, so easy to replace a hose on that. I like the part. Like I said, I do like the part. Where it is a metal construction, I'm not going to do it just to be doing it, but you could technically take it and just chuck it in the floor, and you know, it may break the regulator or something like that, so I don't want to do that. But anyway, it would be less expense to replace some of this, because these regulators, I see them at like your local Harbor Freights and stuff like that. I see them over there for a little bit of nothing, like a little over $10, you know. Far cry from 120 that I have to spend on the other one. And I don't mean to be harping on the other one, but anyway, continuing on. This is pretty much a standard shop air fitting. I don't use those fittings personally, but I think I do have an adapter. Well, or so I thought I did anyway. Well, I'll go ahead and pause the camera up a little bit. I'm going to change that air fitting. Taking a look on the inside of this valve right here, the on-off valve that we got here. That is hexed on the inside, and I'm fairly certain that this type here is serviceable. We can replace the seal in it if it does leak, just to add this in there. I would imagine we'd have to take care and keep a close eye on this top part here, the chrome. I'm not 100% for sure on the quality of that. It looks pretty cheap. What I'm saying by that, it may rust on you even though it is chromed. Not saying that it will, but there's a possibility that it could. So here we are. The valve is closed. I don't hear it leak. The bleeder is open. So I back flushed through that bleeder. Go ahead and open that valve up. I'm going to turn the regulator down because I don't know where it's sitting. Just a second. It was clearly too high for my taste. It was shooting right on up there into the red. That is way too much for a brake system. I'm going to make a note here as well right away. Plastic. I wish they would do glass so it's chemical resistant. I'm not going to show you what I mean by that. I don't want to go down that road. So here we are at about 30 psi. Well, I'm probably going to keep it right there at about 38. Leave it there. That should be good enough. I don't see why that wouldn't be. Okay, so there's a little technical difficulty. I don't know what's going on here now. Well, it may just be dead on arrival. I've just absolutely lost my pressure. There you have it, folks. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. That's your proof there's actually air going in it. So let's take a look at what just happened here. Didn't hear no leaks. Ah, okay. Ha! So, what it is, the reason that just went to zero is, that's actually pretty neat. There's a rubber diaphragm inside of here. And what it's doing, it did exactly what it would really have to do when you're running out of fluid. It blocked everything off. So, yeah. So we're dealing, I don't know if the camera will hear it. Let me get something to push on that. Of course, naturally the heater had kicked on, but yeah, there's a bladder. I guess it's called a bladder, kind of like your your pressure tank when you're in well water. It's designed just like it. So here we're good now. Of course, that kind of sort of keeps me from demonstrating right now. I'd have to actually use the fluid that goes in it. So you just have to take my word for it that it actually does work. Like I said, there is a bladder in here, so once that bladder comes up and all the fluid is exhausted out of it, it will also blank off the hole. So therefore, that's the reason why this here didn't have any air leaking out of it, because it did essentially exactly what it is supposed to do. I'm going to try to go slow. So let's close this off. So in order to prove that to you, I'm going to try to go really slow now. Put the lid back on. So my valves is open back here. I'm going to vent through here. So I'm evacuating the air out of it. Okay, now I'm wide open and our gauge is 0. So, like I said, this is by design. And to prove that to you, I'm going to zoom you back out of it. There was no leaks in the front, which is fantastic. So, I'm going to go ahead and open the relief in the back so you see there's actually pressure in the tank. I can, as a matter of fact, I can even take the hose off of it, and that's to prove. There is, in fact, this tank was fully pressurized. So I'm going to end the video right here. I will put a link in the description of where I got it. I got it on Amazon. I mean, I can tell you, it's not a big deal. It's actually pretty cheap compared to the other one. I will link that in the video as soon as I edit here in a little bit. And I am thinking that sometime this coming week, 1st of January or something like that, I got to do a flush on my truck. If all else fails, if I don't have any other use for it by then, I got to do a brake flush on my truck. So I'll get it on here and get it racked up, and we'll just use it as a guinea pig. So this is all for this video here. I just want you to introduce the tool. Head on down in that comment box, leave me some comments, suggestions, like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.